Okay, here we are reviewing 12.5, angle relationships in circles. We started out with this situation here. We've got tangent BC and secant BA intersecting at point B on the circumference of the circle. What we talked about here is the measure of this angle ABC is half the measure of the arc, right? So if this arc is 100 degrees, this angle has to be 50. Simple. If this angle is 50, this arc has to be 100 degrees, much like the inscribed angle that we talked about last section. We continued and talked about what happens when two secants or chords, as you see here, AB and CD, intersect at a point that's not the center. Obviously, if it's the center, then they're both diameters, and we already know how to handle that situation. Here's when they intersect at a point that's not the center. Then what you're going to do here is you're going to take these arc measures, AD and BC, the ones opposite are congruent vertical angles. Notice the angles are congruent, but the arcs are not. So we're going to add those two up, cut it in half. We then talked about three situations. Tangent and secant. How do I determine the measure of angle 1? Well, it's half the difference of the two arcs that they intercept. So the big arc minus the small arc, cut it in half. Two tangents. Big arc minus the small arc, cut it in half. And keeping along that same fashion, big arc, small arc. Subtract them, cut it in half. So it's the same process you can remember for all three. We talked about an example. You could take a look at that if you want. You should have it in your notes already. And then we did a tactile construction project in your books. And we introduced this theorem, what we called a circumscribed angle. This situation where two tangent lines come from a point outside of the circle. So inscribed means it's in the circle. Circumscribed means it's outside of the circle. But the theorem says that this angle PQR and its associated central angle. So if we created these two lines right here, and this line here, let's just say, that makes a quadrilateral, which we know opposite angles are supplementary, which is exactly what this says. Be safe.